All right, let's talk about the AI boom. We all see it happening, but what if it's not just another tech trend? What if it's something way, way bigger? Today, we're digging into a fascinating analysis that frames this whole moment as a single, civilization-defining wager, with absolutely everything on the line. And this quote right here, from an independent researcher named Beatrice, really sets the stage. The argument is that, whether we realize it or not, we've collectively pushed all our chips to the middle of the table. It's an all-or-nothing bet on our entire future. So, that's the big question, isn't it? Could this actually be the single biggest gamble our species has ever taken? Well, before we can even try to answer that, we have to understand exactly what we're putting up as our stake. Yeah, before we get to the flashy potential payoffs, we have to look at the ante. And it is staggering. We're talking about the insane amount of money, power, and, yes, even water that we are pouring into this thing right now. First up, the cash. The source material projects a 5-year capital spend of $5.2 trillion. Now, to give you some context, the entire 90s telecom bubble, the dot-com boom, this is 10 times bigger. This isn't just an investment, it's an all-out financial arms race. Next, let's talk about power, because this digital bet has a very, very real physical cost. Right now, US data centers already eat up about 4% of the country's electricity. But look at that projection. By 2030, AI could be demanding over 20% of the entire planet's electricity supply. Think about that. It's so much power that it's forcing a massive scramble for energy, bringing everything from fossil fuels to nuclear back onto the table. And then there's this hidden cost, the one that might just be the most dangerous part of the whole wager: water. A single large AI data center can guzzle up to 5 million gallons of water every single day. That's the same amount as a whole town of 50,000 people. We are literally building the thirstiest industry in history, a lot of the time in places that are already battling droughts. Okay, so with that massive ante on the table, all that money, energy, and water, let's look at the cards. How could this play out? The source analysis breaks it down into 3 possible futures. Path number 1 is the jackpot. This is the all in the all-or-nothing bet. They call it post-scarcity. It's the utopian dream, right? AI solves clean energy, it cures diseases, it automates everything. Human labor isn't needed anymore, and we enter this infinity economy where there's unbelievable abundance for everybody. This is the grand prize. This is the promise that makes the colossal risk seem worth it. Then there's path number 2, the nothing scenario, complete and total collapse. The analysis says this could go down a couple of ways. Maybe the financial bubble just pops, triggering a crash that makes 1929 look like a minor dip. Or maybe the physical world breaks first. The power grid can't handle the strain, and we get rolling blackouts. Or the fight over water turns into actual, real-life water wars. But here's where it gets really interesting. The source argues that the most likely outcome is this third path, one where the house wins. It's not utopia or collapse. It's both, happening at the exact same time, just for different groups of people. For the tiny, tiny percentage who own the AI, the data centers, the power, the water, for them, it's post-scarcity. It's paradise. But for everyone else, the 99.9%, it's post-employment. The economic value of a human being basically drops to 0, leading to total dependency. And that, of course, raises a huge question. I mean, in a world that's so wildly unequal, how would a tiny ruling class actually stay in charge? What stops the billions of people with nothing from just rising up? While this part of the analysis, called Pitchforks to an Android Fight, argues that the public's traditional sources of power have been systematically stripped away by technology, the power of labor unions made obsolete by automation, the role of the masses as muscle in elite power struggles gone, which leaves just one critical piece of leverage, and it's starting to break. And that last lever is the military, the need for a large population to defend the nation. But even that is snapping. The source points to this unbelievable number: 77% of young Americans today are disqualified from serving. This creates a huge problem for the people in charge. How do you project power in the world if you don't have anyone to fight for you? And this leads to the ultimate technological solution: an army of autonomous weapons, an android army. It's brilliant in a terrifying way. It solves the problem of national defense, and it gives you the perfect tool for keeping control at home. This is the core of the Pitchforks to an Android Fight idea.
How do you revolt against a system when its enforcers feel no fear, have no family, no conscience, and ask for nothing in return?
Okay, I know, that all sounds incredibly bleak, but the analysis doesn't just stop there. It also plays out 4 different hypothetical ways this whole trend could be disrupted or completely upended. And these 4 paths are pretty wild. The first is the asymmetric Luddite. Think less about smashing machines and more about targeting the system's biggest weaknesses, those fragile power grids and water pipelines. Second is Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods. This strategy is all about making top-tier AI open source, breaking the monopoly and giving that fire to everyone. The third path is the patient vulture. Basically, you do nothing. You just wait for this gigantic financial bubble to inevitably collapse under its own weight. And finally, number 4 is the internal schism, the idea that the elites just tear each other apart in a civil war between old money and the new AI billionaires fighting for control. Which brings us right back to where we started. The source argues that no matter which of these paths we end up on, the sheer scale of this bet we're making is unlike anything we've ever seen before. We are dedicating our planet's future, our money, our energy, our water, to building something that will rewrite the rules of human society. And so, the analysis leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. As we're pushing all our chips to the center of the table in this high-stakes game, we really have to ask ourselves, what kind of future are we actually building?